Hello again everybody, we are back for Q3. I think the connection should hopefully be all sorted, so we should be up and running nice and easily. And we're just in time for the start of the last part of qualifying, so your top 10 have gotten through. It looks like quite a competitive bunch here. Curtis, Grumio, AT, Websy, Matthew, Alvar, Imri, Dan, Tent and PJ. So some of the fastest qualifiers in the RDL, all set to duke out of pole. This should be a very exciting qualifying session here. Looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. So our first car's already out on the circuit. I'll just get myself set these last little bits. Pardon me a moment. Personally, if I had to tip someone for pole, I'd say I'm likely tipping Grumio. However, Grumio can be outshone in qualifying and has been on a number of occasions this season. Of course, not the only car to nab pole position. Imri's often good in qualifying. Matthew's always up there. Dan has nabbed pole on occasion. I'll always think back to PJ's pole in China as last season. So, a number of good drivers who could all have a chance here to try and take pole and lead the pack to the first corner. So, first car to come to the line is indeed PJ. So he'll lead us to the first turn. One car still in the pit line. That's 10th Cannon. 10th staying out for now. Sorry, rather 10th staying in the pit lane for now. Everyone else coming through and behind. The two Haas cars working in tandem here. Imri looking for a toe off of Matthew. Matthew will then pull to the right and allow Imri through at the first corner. Solid play then for Haas. As they obviously fight for pole position and for the best possible starting spot for the team. Obviously, Cott already out of qualifying, so Williams we slightly down the order as a team for this race. Imri fast in the first sector, 30.1 on the board for Imri. And we'll see, in comparison to everyone else, provided he can run a clean lap here, we'll see how much that toe down the main straight has helped him. It would be crucial to avoid invalidating on this lap, because I doubt we'll get a ton of that again. Because likely Matthew will want to go for his own run too. Unless Matthew's sacrificing a spot for Imri, of course. This circuit Imri won out 2 seasons ago, back in season 16. It's coming to around a calendar year since his last win. PJ Kelly 121.4, first on the board. Into the right hand here, last corner for Imri. We'll see how much impact that toe had. How much did it give him? 120 on 411. Truthfully, it didn't give him a lot overall. Who's the next car to the line? Grumio's invalidated his first lap, so have to wait for him to come back out later on. Matthew's pitted, so not getting his first lap in. Websy towards the line. 57.3 in the second sector. 121.5 over the line. And Alvar to P6, 122.1. So slowest of the 6 runners so far. Grumio and AT here. These two working in tandem as we've seen them do before. So AT and Grumio, or just AT rather, Grumio stay out on the circuit. AT pitting, so calling then to Aston Martin's first run this session. Aston Martin, but they still have a chance to try and take Alpine in the constructors. I think it's an outside chance, and I doubt they can get themselves as high as 5th, but I think they're still actually in range to the point where they could do it. But they need a number of good results. Now, having just AT in the race tonight won't be doing them wonders. But I think it will require them to nab a race win or two in these last 3 rounds. So, likely off the table, but you never know. If a few good results in the last 2 rounds. Of course, what next week's race being at Abu Dhabi, and of course the finale in Brazil, the reverse grid finale. Those two will be starting in the top 10. just P3 right now. Imri is fastest. Not by much, truthfully, but still fastest. So we'll see in terms of second runs what everyone's looking like. But Grumio's coming towards the line now. And Grumio fastest by almost 2/10 there. So fantastic lap from the champion to take away P1. AT and Matthew both on that laps here. Last corner towards the line. Matthew's first proper lap. Of course, his first lap proper in this session was also taken to assist Imri, whose time has since been eclipsed by Grumio. But we'll see what Matthew's got up his sleeve. Yellow flag in the middle sector, so Grumio going slow. Obviously, having set his time already, no concern for him there. So 7 cars having set times, 2 of them in the pit lane and 1 of them currently in the circuit. So you see a lock up from Matthew there going through turn 10. Keeping the car on the circuit though, keeping it within track limits. And we'll see how he does going through this complex here. Nice and steady there. He may run into he may meet Grumio on corner exit. Grumio staying on the circuit though. Going for another lap. As Alvar still on the circuit too. Oh no, Grumio pitting, I'm sorry. I forget the pit entry. Oh, and Matthew pitting himself too. So Matthew abandoning his second lap. Supposed to a soft tyre there surely. But we'll see what Haas have up their sleeve, if Imri will look to try and give Matthew a turn next time round. See what sort of games Haas play. Only Alvar on the circuit then. He's only owned that lap. And here comes 2. So the circuit desolate and empty for now. And we'll see who emerges back on the racetrack first for what will be their final runs. And there goes AT. And does Grumio follow him? Grumio is following him. Yes, there he is. Out goes the champion. I imagine the Aston Martin and the RB will likely find each other. PJ will be allowed to run free. So final runs then, or likely to be final runs. There's 3 minutes to go. Gonna take at least another minute or so to get around the circuit. PJ and Kurtz out there, AT out there too, 10th back on the circuit. Matthew coming out the track, Imri's out there, Grumio's out there, everyone's going for it. Webbsy, Darren and Alvar still in the pits, but that we see McLaren movement. So no, that is Ferrari movement, there goes Dan. From the distance, that red looked quite orange. So there goes, and as expected, there is AT backing up to Grumio. And these two are gonna. Oh, are they gonna work together? Both of them letting the Alpine go to hook up now. 2 minutes to go then in qualifying. PJ coming through to start the last runs. But will he be impeded perhaps by the Williams and McLaren have just emerged from the pits? Let's see how these two play things. Down the main straight then, we'll see what sort of times they're putting up. into turn 1 then. Watch this play out. AT's going to follow Grimio as best he can. And we'll look on Grimio then to see it sort of end of the first sector he's putting up. Improving by 600ths. AT keeping with him, so right on his tail. Into the final minute now. Lock up from Grimio. Oh, sliding from Grimio. A rare mistake from the world champion. But he's now a quarter of a second down. But AT 57.085. Can't see Grimio's second sector time. He's invalidated though. Oh, there's been a shunt of some kind. Where is Grimio? Grimio seems a bit more stricken here. He's off his line. Was there contact there? Regardless, going for one final lap. It's for these two. 80 with a bit more battery, so those two backing up to allow that. Oh! And Grimio went flying off this. Imre goes fast, it's 121 dead. Matthew second, the checkered flag now falling. And all of a sudden, Grimio is off pole. Haas front row lockout as it stands. Unless someone can try and find the time to improve us. 10th pulls off the track. PJ still going. He's just under a 10th up. Needs more time though. Needs about half a second or so to try and get himself onto that front row. Webbsy improving. He's 4/10ths up here through sector 2. And it's the last corner now. What can Webbsy do? Can he try and get himself onto the front row? Dan's gone second fastest. 10th retired. Dan 121.1. So bridging the gap between those two Haas machines. Up towards the line. Webbsy goes 3rd place. So Matthew down to 4th. Curtis not improving. PJ towards the line. PJ to P7. Alvar invalidated. AT. What can he do? He needs to put time on the board. Last corner from Aston Martin. If not, looks to be Imre's pole. Imre looks to have it. 1-2-1-7 from AT. And that will settle it. With Curtis not improving at all. Imre takes pole for the Qatar Grand Prix. Masterclass then on the final run from Imre. Fantastic performance to the very end there. So Imre fastest then from Dan, Webbsy, Matthew and Grimio, your top 5. It's Curtis, PJ, 10th, AT and Alvar. Wow, was that fast. And that'll do us for qualifying. And we'll be back with you in a few minutes time to start the race. So here we go again then. Time for the Qatar Grand Prix. Round 22 of Season 18 in the Racers Driving League. Should be an absolute cracker of a Grand Prix. 29 laps, a circuit that provided us a bit of action in the first races here in F1 23. Not so much in our last Grand Prix in F1 24. It was a DRS train the majority of the way, but obviously the pace is required to keep in that train. And we'll see who's got it tonight. Grimio down the order in P5 here. Both titles secure, one for Grimio, one for RB. But the fight for P3 in the Drivers' Championship and P3 in the Constructors' Championships live on. Red Bull, Sauber, Alpine all fighting for 5th place. That fight's still going on. Mercedes looking to try and close on McLaren, the constructors too. So it's also all going on down the field here, and it should lead to one very exciting Grand Prix. And the connection issues are all sorted, so we should hopefully be in for a issue-free race, but we'll see how it looks with a full grid. All in the same shot. So apologies for that during Q1, but we managed to get fixed for Q3, and we are set to go. Moments away now from the formation lap as everyone puts in last checks, gets to get setups right, get themselves ready up. The formation lap will get underway, and we'll see in terms of starting tyres what everyone's looking at. So here we go. Formation lap is getting underway now. In terms of your starting grid, start from the back of the grid as always. Courtney Goblin lines on the back row in P20. He's got Huggy Bear alongside the company. Huggy Bear reserving in place of Landlord, so we're used to seeing that RB in the back on some occasions. Both on the medium tyres. Rete starts on the hard tyre from P18. That's JB P17. Another Q1 elimination for him. Looking to try and fight his way back to the field and give Alpine some valuable points alongside Curtis. Caught in P16. Q1 elimination then from the Williams driver on a day where Williams needs to close on Haas and the constructors. 19 points back going into this one. Cott currently 9 points behind his teammate after a podium finish last week. Ericsson P15, Aston Martin team reserving for EJ. Obsessed in P14 points last week in Las Vegas. Ethan P30 on the medium tyres for Sauber. HB Cook reserving in place of Che for Ferrari. P12. Ben in P11 for McLaren. He's joined by his teammate just in front of him there. Alvar in P10 on row 5. Alvar starting the hard tyres. Second car in the top 10 to be doing that. 80 lines up P9. Then couldn't quite get together in his runs with Grimio in Q3. 10 lines up P8 on the mediums. P7 for PJ. Again, medium tyres with him. That's Curtis in P6. Grimio down to 5th in the end. So did take the pole time at first, but fell back in the second run. A number of cars took advantage of that. Matthew P4 there, starting on the mediums. Webbsy in P3. They're allowed to get it on row 2. And way in front of the field here, Dan is starting in second place in the front row, hard tyres for him, and Imrie takes pole position at a circuit in which he took his second and last RDL victory to date 2 seasons ago. Can he finally get that winning magic back? It's been a long time coming, and we'll see in the next 29 laps if he's got what it takes to lead this field to victory. You can see him positioning himself to the right there, trying to cover off Dan for the run to the first corner, but it's going to require him to get a better start from the Ferrari on his right. Courtney Goblin a long way back here in the order. That's something we've seen before, the last place car taking a while to come around, but normally that's on the broadcast formation lap. Huggy Bear there, P19. Keep an eye on Cott on the race start, see how many places he tries to make up. Ericsson is in front of him, setting for points from Mercedes. Red J relying up to get in front of Courtney Goblin, who comes through to the last spot on the grid here. And we are getting all set for racing. Last spot. And here come the lights. The Qatar Grand Prix, round 22 of the season with Imrie on pole. Lights out, foot to the floor. Go, go, go. We're racing in Qatar. Imrie, the good start, covers off Dan, who tries to find a way through on the inside, getting towards turn 1. Imrie can't block him off completely. They go side by side for the first corner into the right-hander of turn 1. Dan pulling in front for a second. Imrie charging on the outside, gets the better exit and takes the lead away from Dan. He's executed from the start. Webbsy there in third place, passing Matthew for 4th. Curtis P6, PJ 10th, 80, and then Ben bringing up the top 10 as they make their way to the end of the first sector. It's Imrie in control. Sam running wide in the back there. That is Ethan, who's gone off the circuit slightly, but keeps it on the wraps, avoids any sort of collision anyone behind him. Huggy Bear passing Red J further back as Imrie leads them to the first sector. Into turn 6 we go. Matthew and Curtis side by side. Curtis trying to challenge the Haas car for 5th place. Grimmir's already found his way through. He's into 4th. And the opening advances here. Working on Webbsy for 3rd. Imrie here 8/10 in front and starting to try and open lead here this early on in the race. It's all single file as everyone makes their way towards the end of the second section, towards the 3rd. Just the one DRS on the circuit, and Imrie's going to try and clear it. He's got 2 laps more or less to try and clear himself of that gap. He's 9/10 in front right now. It's been a dream first lap from him. I'm sure he would have preferred to have covered Dan off at the first corner, not to worry about that at turn 1, but he's taking complete advantage of that starting spot. And he's pulling away here, 1.1 seconds to the good. What a getaway from Imrie. He leads this first lap. Perhaps the most comfortable we've seen him all season here. Dan leads the train off the last corner. Webbsy P3, Grumio in P4. We'll see if Grumio can try to make a move here. Webbsy's getting actually close to Dan though, and Webbsy going for second place. All single file safe for Webbsy, and now Grumio trying to go for it too. Double whammy then for Dan into the first corner. 10th charging to the inside of Ben at turn 1. The McLaren and the Red Bull side by side with 18 just in front of them. Keeping on HB Cook might try and get involved too. Attempt to make some mistakes. She slid for a second there. JB and Pete's Bowl here making a number of places. Great progress in the early portion of this race. He's already around even for P13. He's now working on HB Cook. 10th still challenging Ben there in front of them. The mid pack getting spicy here as there goes Cott at the inside, making early places himself, passing Ethan now into P13. So Cott up 3 places himself. In terms of positions gained here in the first lap and a half, it's JB's getting the most. He's the biggest gainer so far. Cott up 3. Biggest drop being Alvar from P10 to P15. Not a fantastic start from McLaren here. But Ben's still going P9 and fighting 10th for that spot. So that could attack at the rear of the field. Imrie here. 1.2 seconds in front of Webbsy. No mistakes to be able to get away from that DRS train. Grumio in 3rd place. Looks to want to try and get out of that dirty air of the Williams in front of him and try and get to work on chasing down the race leader. But Imrie on the no pressure DRS wise. Off the last corner then to start lap 3. This Qatar Airways Qatar Grand Prix. Obsessed gets the first warning of the night. 3-second time penalty. Grumio fastest lap there and charging towards the first corner, breezing past Webbsy. Light work for the champion up into 2nd place, and the work begins from now to try and chase down the Imrie rather, who's lost a lot of time there. Now, only 5-6 tenths in front. Over a half-second lead, and all of a sudden perhaps not feeling as confident as he was on the initial getaway. There's your tyres on the left side of your screen. Likely looking at a 1-stop in this Grand Prix. We'll see how the tyres last. On F1 23, the time management of the circuit is absolutely key. It's been a good portion of the lap at high revs. At the back of the pack here, we'll see everyone's single file for now. Going to be on the tail of HB Cook. And do the warm-up with a penalty there. We just caught that last moment. And that would have been his 3rd warning. So JB with also with a penalty alongside him is Obsessed and Ben in that respect. But HB took the main target in front of him. And 10th Cannon is still trying to get around Ben with P9. So that race continues on between those guys. From the outside there, couldn't quite do it. Stays back in line, maintains position for the minute. But DRS zone incoming here. And up front, can Webbsy get back around Grumio? Or can Grumio try and take the lead this time? Because Imrie is no longer... hasn't got a cushion anymore. Grumio fastens up once again, closing all the time on the race leader going towards this first corner. Won't close enough for a move to the inside at turn 1, so stays where he is for the minute. Obviously that bonus lap, that bonus point going Grumio's way for the fastest lap. Obviously the last few of those points we dished out this season. F1 25 means no more fastest lap point in accordance with the new point standings rule change for 2025. Top 7 train here. PJ bringing up the rear of that pack. There's 80 by himself in P8. He's a second behind PJ, but also about a second or so in front of 10th, who's now past Ben. HB Cook on the tail of the McLaren as JB was always trying to get around these guys. Ethan P13, it's Cott and Alvar. Bottom 5 falling back a bit here. Obsessed, then Huggy Bear, Ericsson, Red J and Cottony. So these guys struggling a bit. Dropping off the lead pack. Imrie and Bruno right on this tail here to make their way into turn 10. So Imrie needs these points. 28 points back from Dan in 3rd place in the World Championship. Gaining 13 of those back as it stands right now. Off the last corner once again then. Grumio a lot closer this time round. We'll see if he can try and make a move to the lead, but Imrie breaking the toe there, playing it smart on the run towards the first corner. Everyone following him in this massive train here towards turn 1. Grumio to the inside, takes the lead away. So from P5 then, Grumio now leads the Qatar Grand Prix. Imrie sat in 2nd, and now can't allow Grumio to pull out too much of an advantage. He wants to try and keep in range and not fall under pressure from Webbsy behind. He's got to settle into the train now. Wait for his next opportunity to get back around Grumio. Awfully close to the back of that RB there. Be careful on that. Train is very condensed right now. It's AT trying to close back in on those guys with more falling under pressure from 10th. That gap has closed a fair bit, and this train still runs back to 15th. You see Ericsson trying to challenge Huggy. We had the two reserves going at it for P17, two honorary members of the league in the race tonight. HB Cook going down as the only actual full-time reserve. As in actually in that role, is what I mean. But moving swiftly on, we'll see here, Ben is currently holding off that train for the last points he stands. Can't afford many mistakes. He's got no DRS now as HB Cook tries to challenge him. Going through turn 13 into 14 now. PJ with a warning in front. That's P7 for him right now. And JB looking to get an awfully close together. He's getting quite squirrely here. You'll be very careful. Very aware what the car in front of you is doing. Matthew passing Curtis there. That's P5 for the Haas driver. Down the main straight once again. Looks like Imri's trying to take the lead from Grumio going towards the first corner. Websy in front of both cars there. Up front. HB Cook holding on to position for now. Websy, Grumio and Imri all going at it into turn 2. Grumio eking out front. Imri back into second place. It's close between him and Websy right now. Into the right-hander. Huggy Bear warning it. It's a penalty. That's 5 cars now. Imri back into second. Websy briefly had the lead there. Just shows you how strong the DRS is going to be down that main straight towards turn 1. So we could see a number of occasions like that tonight. We'll keep an eye out for this when we come back down towards turn 1 again. And 10th now joining that train. So 18 and 10th now making it a top 9 train. HG Cook without DRS only by 1.7 seconds here. And the under pressure from JB is behind. Cott is holding off Ethan, Ben and Alvar. So 2 McLarens down together. So Ben falling out of that race for the points. A bit wide, they're going through turn 12 alternate line, making use of it. And back up front, but keep an eye on the race for the lead here. I want to see this is going the main straight. So in would be in prime position to try to take that race lead back. Down the main straight once again, top 9 all together here. Imri charging through for the lead. Websy trying to close it if he can too. Diving to the inside, no, not quite diving. Websy then still stays in third place, but he'll be back in the lead for the first time since losing it. A couple of laps to go. Dan on the trail of Websy now, looking to the outside, trying to find, he catch the Williams unaware, trying to find an opening. Oh! AT off in the rebel. Yellow flag first sector as the Aston Martin rejoins. Careful there, AT. Coming up in front, almost in front of Ben's McLaren there. Close to contact between those two. Keep an eye out for re-entry. A lot of dust now on that Aston Martin as he rejoins in P13. Out of the points, they'll hand the last place to JB as it stands. But obviously that penalty won't help his case. They'll hand the last points to Ethan and Cott because PJ has won 2. HB Cook's gone away a bit now. He's started DRS range, but the car's in front of him, but crucially will not be threatened behind. So Cannon now being stuck in a fight with Matthew and Curtis. Matthew squeezing through there, and 10th trying to join him. Really on the main straight then, leading the way. And we're closing once more. The train breaking up a bit here, down top 4 together. Goes towards turn 1, Imri trying the inside. Can't quite do it as of yet. Keeping himself in range, crucially. That's all he can really expect to do at this point in the Grand Prix. See what he's got lined up. Lap 8 now in this Grand Prix. Plenty of time, plenty of racing still to be done. 10th and P5 now. She's done a fantastic job so far in this Grand Prix. Position change now. JB still the biggest gainer, but HB Cook up 5 places. They're getting to work in that Ferrari. Biggest dropper right now is the number of them. I think it's both 2 McLarens. They dropped 4 places each. So those just like P10 and P11 together. Curtis has any connection problems right now. Front. This 4-car train continues on as 10th closes in, narrowing those guys. She's getting a DRS in the main straight. 4-car train becomes a 5-car train once again. AT making that mistake really helped him. Really, he slipped up, and as a result, a number of cars all together here. Curtis disconnected, but leading this train off the last corner. And back to turn 1. PJ making his move, darts to the inside as Emery reclaims the lead in front. Both Salvers get through. Ethan trying the inside towards that first corner. Can he do it? Side by side with the Alpine and getting almost clear at turn 1. Now he putting clear. There he goes. And AT going past as well. JB watching on as his teammate loses places. Oh, close to. There was contact there between the two cars, but luckily nothing too much came of it. JB with another warning there, another penalty. As Curtis rejoins, he'll find himself down in P13, P14 now, so give yourself a bit of work to do in this Grand Prix. There's your penalties. So 6 drivers have them so far. JB and Ben both have 6 seconds each. Ben's made his first stop. Here's a hard tyres on that McLaren now. He's at the back of the field. Plenty of work to do. So Emery now leads the train. It's a 6-car train here. Matthew only just close enough for DRS. His 10th is trying to challenge on Webbsy going towards the last corner. And back towards turn 1 again. On to lap 10 of this thing. Again, Emery breaking the toe. Nice good job of it. The crew is going to close in regardless, but Dan may go for it first. Dan closing in towards the inside. Yellow flag is out. Curtis is disconnected. I think he's out of the race. No safety car, but Grumio takes the lead, and Emery gets double whammied there by Dan, who takes second place away. But Curtis then out of the Grand Prix, putting the car over. And that's it for him. So Alpine, who are already in 7th place in that fight for the constructors, have got both of their 2 teams they're chasing in the points right now. And JB is in 12th place with 6 seconds of penalty, so it's going to be a big ask for Alpine to try and come away with some points tonight. I fear Alpine may end up losing more ground in the Constructors' Championship fight there. It could be between Sauber and Red Bull for P5. HB Cook still leading this train here. PJ P8, Ethan P9, 18 the last points playing place now. On that Aston Martin going through this last sector. HB Cook, the reserve, doing a fantastic job as of right now. Keeping things firmly in control. Or under control, rather. As Dan takes the lead up front. PJ making the pass and HB Cook though. There goes AT, taking 1 car, maybe taking 2. Might try and take HB Cook into the first corner. There he goes. Down the inside, avoiding contact with 2 cars side by side on corner exit. It's like tap there, then they're grazed through turn 2, but nothing too major, if anything. AT takes P8 away. And there goes Ethan trying to challenge for P9. Can't do it. Alvar up behind these guys. He's trying to get involved in the points fight. Obviously, he'll get a point as it stands right now because PJ has that penalty to think about. And JB and Koch rejoin the party once again. Fell back a little bit, but now back in play. Dan down the lead. Grumio second. Train Webbs has been stuck behind these guys for the first 11 laps this race so far, except for that brief moment where he took the lead. 10th and P5, I'm sure they can try and get involved herself. Of course, a penalty in this group would be costly if you want a chance at the podium today. A penalty at this point would likely condemn you to the back of this train in terms of finishing order. But who makes the first move? There goes 10th into the pit lane. 10th pitting. I'm not to in a moment, but there goes closing in here, goes for the lead once again towards the first corner. Emery closing in 2. Both cars getting around down into the first turn. 10th and JB both pitting. 10th on the hard tyres. So getting towards that pit window now. Dan round the curb there, trying to avoid contact with Emery. But shoves the door shut. Slams the door shut, rather. And Dan back in P2. So loses 1 spot, gains another. And this train's put down to 5. 10th rejoining here. 10th will rejoin in the 15th spot. Maybe he joins in P17. So hard tyres then for those two to the end, I'd imagine. Of a late safety car, for example. And here's hoping next season of it, when we come to this track, it will be less of these DRS trains. Not a lot of action going on here until we really get to the main straight. It's more down to the design of the game than it is the driving on offer. Because these are all fantastic drivers, it obviously goes without saying they're fantastic. The only reaction we get here is down this main straight onto lap 13 of the Grand Prix. There goes Imrie in the pit lane, and Websy joining him. Websy with a penalty there. Not entirely sure that was penalty worthy. I think he just cut across to get to the pit lane. So likely looks at that penalty removed, I should think. But Imrie's been strong so far tonight, keeping himself in that lead train. Perhaps one of the key favourites to win this race. We'll keep an eye on what that team emerges because that'll keep things interesting. Dan, Grumio and Matthew are staying out together. Matthew off the pace a bit, about a second back from Grumio. HB Cook being challenged by Alba for a second. I think he's going to try the inside going into turn 4, but doesn't go for it. Keeps himself in line, keeps himself in that fight. Behind them, Ethan then Cott. Obsessed in P8, Ericsson P9, and Imrie now in 10th, coming out in front of 10th Websy and Red J. P13 ready to stop. As for these guys, when do we see these guys make their stops? Do we see Dan and Grimmick this time? Are they on the same strategy in terms of tyres? I should imagine they would be. Dan obviously on the hard tyres, so we could see him going for a bit longer. But whether Grumio makes his stop or not, let's wait and see. There goes Matthew coming in. And that was close. You can see how much he locked the tyres as Grumio takes the lead away. Matthew stopping here. Alvar now in P4, Cott in P5. Matthew changing onto his hard tyres. He's away. HB Cook and Ethan both in the pit lane. Sorry, both of his cars in the pit lane too. Obsessed up to P5 here. So these hard tyre runners, we're going to see him go for a bit longer here. 10th goes fastest. 1:24.3 on the board for Red Bull. She's in P8 right now. Sorry about that, P7. He's just managed to get around Grumio for that spot. Grumio around Imrie, sorry for that spot. Websy P9, Matthew P10. So the last points paying places here. Then AT. These two going out of position. He's just staying in line for now. That's Sauber keeping tucked up behind Aston Martin. Going to the end of this first sector. JB not far behind these guys either. JB one of the earlier stoppers. Ben also has been on those hard tyres for 5 laps already. Now, do we see one of the leaders coming this time? Both cars staying out once again. Alvar P3, 10th, currently leading this train here. She's in a net P3 as of right now. I can imagine these guys will emerge behind Grumio and Dan. But we'll see here, because obviously they're on much fresher tyres by comparison. Obviously getting a lot more time. So 10th with fastest up a lap ago. Red J with a penalty there. 10th may have received a warning for that excursion off track at turn 15. So halfway now through this Grand Prix. Imrie makes his move, darts to the right hand side, gets the move clean on 10th once again, pulling narrowly in front of that Red Bull into the first corner. Matthew and Cott behind these guys. Excuse me, Cott in the pit lane, sorry. Websy with them too. Cott will re-emerge in P17 here. Of course, top 5, we have to stop as of right now. Imrie 24, 25 odd seconds back from Dan right now. Cotney pitting. Down to the last running cars in P19. Complete control of this thing right now. And Imrie's no doubt thinking of potential race win in his hands. There's still a long way to go. And Courtney on the verge of going a lap down here. As Dan and Grumio stay out front of the lap. Grumio still going here. Is Grumio perhaps looking at a set of soft tyres at the end? I shouldn't think so. But he's taking these tyres longer than I thought he would, truthfully. Those tyres can be what wins the race sometimes. So Obsessed makes his stop. Emery now fastest lap. And that gap between Emery and Dan, rather than the two race leaders, is closed for about half a second or so. You've got to think Grumio must be struggling here on those medium tyres. I think pace has definitely gone down in that RB. Dan still holding strong on his tyres. Yellow flag, it's Courtney Goblin. JB with penalty there for multiple warnings. JB in P11 as it stands. Right behind AT, so JB's got 9 seconds now. Sorry, 12 seconds, apologies. Cott gets his first 3 seconds of the evening. He's in P16 right now. And Alpine looking like they're in trouble here. Both Red Bull and Sauber in the points paying place as it stands. As Grumio comes in. We'll get a sense here as to whereabouts he emerges compared to the leaders, and we'll get a sense as where Dan is as well. Grumio changing his tyres, he's away here. Heading towards the exit as Emery emerges from the last corner down the main straight. Pack in tow. Where is Grumio? There he is. Grumio emerged at the tail end of this train then, still with them. But Emery, I imagine, down at net P1. But on fresher, hard tyres, but a good few laps here. Fastest lap was changing hands there. That went to Cott on the medium tyre. Attempt there in P4. So in terms of cars up front, 3 of them in the whole order, but only Dan, Alvar and Reggie had to pit. What is the game plan for the 3 hard tyre runners then? Are they looking at mediums for the end and just running the hards as long as they can? Is there a set of soft tyres at all waiting for them? What is the game plan? Alvar penalty there as Dan comes in. But this could be crucial to see where this race comes to an end. Lap 18 now for Dan. I imagine medium tyres. Yep, medium tyres going on. Dan here seeking his 3rd race victory of the season. Does he come out in front of the leaders? I shouldn't think so. Comes in, Marine to take the lead. 10th closing in 2. 10th towards the first corner to the right side of the racetrack. Into turn 1. 10th cannon for the first time tonight. Lead to the Qatar Grand Prix. Dan emerges behind Grumio in P6. And now it's game on. It's these tyres all the way to the end. And we'll see who's got the speed. You think Dan will be the fastest car in the order as of right now with fresh tyres on. Mid-packed PJ P7 and AT, JB and Alva on the points paying places. But 3 of those 4 cars with penalties as JB gets another one there. 15 seconds for him. It's not going fantastically for him right now. In the points paying place, will likely almost guaranteed to lose those points. We'll see here, going into the last 10 laps of this Grand Prix. From the back, but I'm thinking that Ethan HP Cook will likely to inherit those points. AT will be set in P7. And everyone below HP Cook, all with penalties. That's another 7 cars. 11 of them in all have penalties to be added on. Down the main straight again here. Haas closing on 10th. Emery takes the lead. Matthew then trying the inside and his teammate into the first corner. Emery now taking the lead back. Grumio into P4. Caught again, fastest lap, 1:23.7 on the board for the Williams machine. While his teammates are in P5 here. He's been in there with the pack all night. As Matthew to the inside takes the lead. 2 of the 6 cars in this pack are yet to win RDL races. One of them is yet to, both of them yet to stand on a podium full time. 10th as a reserve did it in Mexico last season, but not as a full-time driver and not with Red Bull. As Dan and Webbsy go at it. Dan taking P5, and Matthew yet to finish on the podium himself. I'm sure he'd love to try and clinch a first RDL victory in this sense and try and give Haas their first win of the season. But good points for these guys right now. 1-2 would do wonders for them in terms of chasing third place, or rather extending their lead in third place in the Constructors' Championship. Matthew scored 48 points this season after joining us midway through. He's currently P12 in the championship. A good finish here could see him trying to sniff out a top 10 finish at the end of the campaign as in the last 10 laps of the race. Webbsy P6. Falling back a bit here. Imrie makes the pass to Matthew for the lead. Grumio takes third place from 10th. Dan fighting with P4. Dan takes it further back here. Everything's on Cott there in P11. HB Cook in P12. Obviously, HB Cook also can't score points himself as a reserve. So Ethan, as things stand, would be the biggest benefactor here. Then no P14, another penalty for him too. Got 9 seconds to his name. Second most. Alvaro 6. JB has 15, everyone else has 3. Webbsy has a penalty in P6, so likely he'll finish there as it stands. PJ carries 6 seconds back on the penalty of his own. Does Matthew try to get the lead back? Dan's now in P3. Managed to make the pass on Grumio. So Dan's going to move here on these medium tyres. And we'll still running it towards turn 1. On to lap 21 here. 9 laps to go in Qatar. Dan with a good pass. Closing. Trying to hit 1 car. Trying to hit 2 cars. Breezing into the lead there goes Dan. At turn 1. And Matthew passing in for P2. Grumio trying in for P3. It's tight. It's very tight between these guys. Imrie holds on, but narrowly. Grumio's on his tail here, going to the inside, going towards turn 4. Into the right hand they go. Imrie backs out of it, might try to switch back into turn 5, can't do it, stays in line. So Imrie then down 3 places, but that's to be expected in a train like this. A train this close, but Dan is pulling away. He is hauling time up there, a second in front already. Give Dan clean on those medium tyres, he is checking out. Eerily similar to how Imrie was on the first lap of the race. Dan gunning for his 3rd win of the season. Matthew gunning for the first podium of his RDL career. Grumio looking for another one for his illustrious tally. Imrie fighting for that 3rd place finish, trying to fight for the win here, but down to P4 right now. Webbsy P5 on the penalty. 10th to P6 going for her first podium too. Any hopes of a first time winner, any hopes of a dramatic final lap may have been snuffed here by Dan on these medium tyres. 2nd half to the good here. And Matthew now leads Grumio around the last corner. And Dan won't get DRS crucially off of Cottony, but Cottony has got a lap down. It's Dan fastest lap, 1.28. Is Dan now assured for that race win? As Cottony backs off, allows the top 6 through the turn 1, including his teammate. Kept scoring the big points for it, but we've seen 109 points to her name. The 8th, and as of right now, last driver to past 100-point mark. The next one will be PJ, who's on 84 right now. Who will add to that today? I'm not too sure, truthfully. It's going to be close. Get a better sense in terms of that order. Webby reaches the checker flag in about 7-8 laps time. JB's got Ethan right behind him there. Ethan again, no penalties for him right now. JB with a 6th penalty. There's 18 seconds for him. I'm sure kicking himself for that in the cockpit. Grumio looks like he's starting to reel Dan back in. Only briefly. He's pulling away here from this pack. Matthew now in P3 is second out from Grumio. Top 6 still together in one count and one shot, but still breaking away here is Dan. That DRS everything right now. Matthew under pressure from Imrie going towards turn 1. Imrie making the pass. And needs to help with that DRS to try and close in on the cars ahead of him. He's about a second out from Grumio, who's about a second out himself from Dan. Webbsy, Matthew side by side going through turn 2. Good exit from Webbsy, staying alongside Matthew and pulling clear. And this could be the scrap for the podium later on in this race. Dan is pulling away, was pulling away. Grumio's now joining him. Those two 1.3 in front of Imrie in third place. Behind them, PJ still leading 18 Alvar. 80 on course for solid points here, on course for 7th place, I'd say. First finisher outside of that lead pack. Alvar putting under pressure though, going into turn number 7. Fantastic racing on offer so far tonight. It's been thoroughly enjoyable to see. Caught in P10. He's also been hauling consistently on those medium tyres. 8 laps on those. How fast is that for a bit before it's taken by Dan? He's got 3 seconds of penalties himself. But I think we'll also benefit from Alva having 6 seconds in front of him. Here. 6 laps to go. Grumio closing the gap here. 2 seconds back to Imrie in third place. Now, this could be a two-man show. Mano a mano for the race victory. As he gets in front of Imrie, might try to switch back on corner exit. Can't do it. Sticks in lines. Goes right on the Williams' tail going through turn 2. 10th behind by all 3 of these guys. And we've seen this before, these 2 leaders are up front. Grumio, we've seen him wait behind Dan's teammate Che in a number of races this season for making that move and just trying to pull away on the last lap. And at this point, he can probably start saving ERS. Dan in mediums right now. Just saving a bit, charging it up a bit more. Perhaps trying to avoid any assault on the main straight. Can't quite pull away from the 3 cars behind him. That fight for the last place in the podium is going to go right to the flag here. Imrie's got it right now because of that penalty of Webbsy. Matthew and 10th both gunning for their first full-time podiums. Can they do it? They're going to need to find a way around round 2. Exceptional drivers to do it, and they're obviously trying to avoid any penalties on a circuit that has seen so many of them dished out tonight. And up front, it's still Grumio and Dan for the race win. 5 laps to settle it here in Qatar. Do we see Grumio go for a move for the lead? They've been another penalty for him there. 7 penalties as Imrie goes right away to the right side of the racetrack there. No challenge. Matthew passing Webbsy too, or trying to pass Webbsy. Can he do it? Can't quite do it. Stays in line. Alvar passing PJ for P7 here. 18 behind these guys now, letting them play it out. Doesn't want to lose too much time. Yellow flag. And that's just got the Goblin letting the cars go once again. So sorry, that should be blue flag now, I think. Grumio now 4 tenths back from Dan. He's pretty close that gap down. Imrie 3 seconds behind these guys. Grumio penalty. And 3 seconds there for Grumio. And there is still a way technically that one of these guys in this pack behind can win this race if Dan gets 1-2. And these guys can get back within 3 seconds. It's a big ask. But you never know. Something could happen between these guys. It required Dan to get 1-2. Dan right now has got this one sewn up. But if Grumio gets around him, he's got 4 laps to build a 3-second lead. Truthfully, I think if there's anyone in this group who can do it, it's Grumio. He needs to make the pass first. He needs to go for it here. Down the main straight. This could be the pass for the win potentially. Grumio down the lead, but needs to pull 3 seconds. He's got 4 laps to do it. And Imrie needs to avoid a penalty and try and keep it with Webbsy. As Matthew challenges him into the first corner, the Haas car side by side once again. These two racing fantastically as teammates here. And 10th behind. Front row seat for all this. Watching it play out, but no doubt wishing to get involved herself. Not long to go now. We're nearly about 3.5 laps left in this thing. And Grumio is already 7 tenths, almost 7 tenths in front now of Dan. Those DRS zones are going to be crucial for the medium tyre Ferrari to try and keep him with the RB. It's going to be a very, very close end to this race. Obviously, if Dan then gets a penalty, he knows he can't at this point, because that will mean he needs to take the lead back from Grumio. And likely, it'll make things very close to the cars behind them. Further back here, it's still Alvaro in P7, PJ P8. Caught in the points paying places and may actually walk away with the point here. He's second in front of Ethan, who may still get one. I'm not too sure. It's going to be quite close here. I'm wondering. I'm not too sure, honestly. I have to wait and see. HB Cook no points from right now. JB, I think, we're going back towards the lower parts of the order. Ben and P40, Obsessed and Ericsson, Red J, Huggy and Connie. Dan takes the lead back into turn 1. So Grumio's job that made it a lot harder here. He's got to get back around Dan. He's got less time to do it now. And we are in for an absolute humdinger of a finish here in Qatar. Imri back in 3rd place. Number of fights going all down the order here. PJ holding off Alvar on AT. AT knows he can sit where he is and get those P7 points. Caught by himself, fighting to close in on those guys. Ethan again by himself now, out of DRS range for HB Cook. So we've got JB on his tail. Ericsson puts Cotney a lap behind. Red J in the pit lane here. Red J's done 25 laps on those tyres. Fair play to him for making them last this long. He set a soft tyre in the offing now for Red J. And fastest lap. We could see him that towards the end of the Grand Prix. Leave his mark on this race. There he goes. Will we see a fastest lap from Red J to sign off this Qatar Grand Prix? Up front, it's still Dan and Grumio. Down here. I think trying to force him into an error from kind of something he's got left. We need to get that lead back. Alvar penalty. Keep an eye on that race control board. If it comes back up with Dan's name on it, we're in trouble. Or at least Dan's in trouble. Grumio takes the lead. 2 laps to go. Imri, then Websy, P3, Websy closing in. Websy going to the outside. Matt goes both cars here. 3 wide into turn 1. Websy gets in front of them. With that penalty though, it means he can't take the place. It would be P6 from most likely. It's these 3 cars behind him that are fighting for that spot on the podium. PJ and Alvar side by side through turn 1. PJ now nipping in front, but Alvar trying the outside, going a long way round. Stays alongside. Obviously can't, likely won't take those points, but can still fight PJ for pride here. Alvar P7. And AT still watching this show play out. Front row seat. Caught in P10, still 3 seconds back from these guys, so not getting much. Even 4.2 behind him. And the focus now shifts back to our race leaders. It's crucial that Imri doesn't lose that 7 tenths or any more that time, and that's Websy. If he finds himself out of DRS range this last lap, that could be costly. Up front now, it's now all Grumio and Dan. And Grumio's only hope here is that Dan makes a mistake, spins off. Because those 3 seconds are going to be costly for Grumio. As Dan is a lap away now from his 3rd win of the season, provided he has 1 more clean lap. Doesn't need to win the race, just needs to be clean. Caught penalty there, last lap. Dan makes the pass with DRS going to turn 1. Grumio needs to try and force an error from Dan and try and get back around him. Dan is sliding up those medium tyres there, keep an eye out. Webb's going into P3, Imri still 4th. Grumio to the inside, they're going for the lead. Get an error out of Dan in some way, shape or form. Dan on the inside. Side by side, it's a chess game between these 2 great drivers. Down the outside into 7. Looking for that lead back, it's tight between them. Dan must take any unnecessary risk as Grumio slides out there. And Dan reclaims the lead. And he can get a penalty now and know he's good. But we need to keep Grumio at bay here. Does the champion of anything left. ERS in use for both cars here. Dan wants to get nearest for Grumio. He's not closing in. There's just 2 corners to go now. And Dan may have just survived the last of it. Grumio going for one last move to the outside. Going in deep. And Dan, oh, close to contact there. Staying even towards the line. And over the line, Dan takes the checkered flag and wins the Qatar Grand Prix. 3rd win of the season for Dan. Grumio 2nd, Imrie takes 3rd, Matthew 4th, 10th and 5th, Websy 6th, PJ will come to the line 7th, who finished where? AT 7th, PJ 8th, Alvar 9th, and Cott will scrape the last point for Williams, so double points for Williams today, but they lose ground to Haas. Ethan P11, up to P9 in the end. Alvar now P10, Cott and HP Cook, JB down the order likely. Obsessed coming towards the line, we'll see where about JB emerges. Obsessed P13, Ben P14. Sorry, Extra P14, Ben P15. I think likely Red J will be P16 for JB, P17 for Red J, P18 for Huggy Bear, and P19 for Cockney Goblin across the line. But a fantastic race here in Qatar. Brilliant race. Grumio, you saw him there trying to get an error out of Dan at the very end of the race and almost caught him. 300 separated those guys at the end. Just trying to finish the fastest lap we can. That's like 1.38 in the end. Huggy Bear last corner, P18 for Huggy. He's coming up to the line now to complete this race. But Dan's your winner. 3rd race win of the season, 3rd career victory for the Ferrari driver. It's been a great year for him. And he'll strengthen his grip on 3rd place in the World Championship with Landlord out of the picture and Imrie behind him. Dan making up a lot. Dan improving a fair bit in terms of his championship gap. So those 2 cars behind him looking set for 3rd place. And a thoroughly enjoyable Grand Prix. As Dan bringing his wheel out there with him. What a drive from all 3 of those guys. Dan takes the win then. Grumio 2nd, Imrie in 3rd. Imrie gets himself back on the podium. For the first time, at least the last 2 rounds. And good to get himself some more points to try and this should be enough. I think by 1 point to put him in front of Landlord for 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. So all very entertaining stuff tonight. And we'll see if we can get to talk to anyone after that scintillating Grand Prix. There's your results then. Dan wins the race from Grumio 2nd, Imrie in 3rd, Matthew 4th, 10th, 5th, Websy 6th, AT 7th, PJ 8th, Ethan 9th, and Alvar rounds out your top 10. Behind them it's Cott in P11, Kate P12, good race from the reserve, Obsessed Gamer P13, Ericsson P14, Ben, JB, Red J, Huggy, and Cockney Goblin all made the flag. Cockney a lap down, and Curtis unfortunately frustrating, but failed to finish in today's Grand Prix. A fun race then all round, and I think we're going to get to talk to. I'll be back in a matter of moments, so we get post-race interviews underway. Okay, I am back. We're going to get post-race interview underway in just a moment, and I have our first visitor to the commentary box. Okay, we have Red J in for post-race interview first up. Red J, perhaps not the race I wanted, but in terms of pace, how was it for you today, mate? How's it going?
Yeah, it was all right. It was, I think compared to last year, I think it was a better race for me. feel like I had a decent setup for the corners. I just didn't quite have the pace on the straights, which was obviously a bit of a shame. But no, I still thought, yeah, a decent race. I was nicely ahead of the of two drivers behind me, which was pretty good. Just couldn't, quite keep up with the rest of the field. But considering I hadn't put much practice in, I'm quite, content with how it's.
Fair enough. Obviously, I mean, pace was definitely there. I think improvements compared to where expectations were when I spoke to you last week about this race. But obviously, in terms of plans for the next 2 weeks, end of the season, what's the game plan there? Because obviously, reverse grip finale's coming up, so that's 2 weeks time from there. Now where are we next?
Yeah, well, it won't be at the next race. Going similar this weekend for the F1. So, yeah, I won't be back in time for the for Abu Dhabi. But yeah, obviously Brazil, reverse grid. So I think last year it was decided on quali pace. So I think if it's decided on that again, hopefully I'll get pole for that, and I'm gonna try like my hardest to just come away with any points possible. It would be a great way to finish the season. I think I'm really pleased that everyone voted, or the majority of people voted in favour for it to end there, because it's always a fun race. We had that massive crash a few years ago, where about half the field wiped out. So if that could maybe happen on the first lap, if I end up given pole position and then someone causes an accident behind, that would be what a way that would be to end the season. But yeah, so looking forward to that, and then we'll see what happens coming into the next F1 game as to what I do. Although I probably won't be racing, so it'll probably be one more final race, and yeah, it'd be great to finish the season with with even just the points. I'd take that right now.
I'll have to see in 2 weeks' time and see if we can end your season off on a high note, Red J. So obviously, solid job today. Obviously, make it to the flag, and I will commend you as well on the tyres as well. So you made those hard tyres last 25 laps longer than anyone else. So fair play to you on that as well.
Yeah, thanks. I was trying to. I was either waiting for a late safety car, or it was a case of just going onto the softs at the end and hoping I could get the fastest lap. Neither of those happened, but I think it was more fun to try and do that and take the hard tyres rather than just go with like a boring strategy. So it gave me a little bit more, kind of excitement, hoping something good could happen. But unfortunately, neither of those did. But never mind.
Fair enough. Always worth to try something new. But in terms of the driver who did have that fast lap, I think at the end of the race, I have to blame our race winner Dan for that. Dan, congratulations, mate! 3rd race victory of the season. Did you expect this many wins when you came into this campaign? Because I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't. You proved me wrong.
Not exactly. I've to come out. Obviously 2 races to go, but even with the same amount of race wins as my teammate Che, who going in was probably Ferrari's championship favourite. It's good reflection on the both of us. I think my improvement and Che's consistency as well. He's always been thereabouts when he's been racing. So again, he's just got to find that extra tenth to beat Groomy over the line, because it can be quite frustrating when that happens.
Fair enough. Of course, that last lap, or that last run in particular, Grumio was there trying to force you into a mistake. Is there anything that you felt was over the line at all, or was it all just fair racing?
Yeah, no, all fair. He's one of the best drivers to race with, in my opinion. He can be a bit calamitous at times when he sees his teammate, but I'm not his teammate, so yeah, not worry for me.
Luckily, Landlord wasn't with us this week, so no cataclysmic events from the RB pair this time round. But obviously, as you say, yes, he is still a tough customer. Obviously, you're with that lead train the entire time, and obviously you were the one runner. Those guys be on the hard tyres. Would you say the strategy won the race for you today?
Yes, because it got me quite far away from people like Websy, Imri, and Matthew and 10th at the end as well. 10th was in that train. It got me away from those people. Obviously, we came over the line with about a 5-second difference to P3 in the end. So if I was on that alternate, or if I was on the main strategy, then I don't think I would have had that gap at the end and that sort of comfortable fight with Grumio at the end, because we were fighting but we were still pulling away as well. So yeah, it was nice.
Well, it's definitely enjoyable to watch. I'll give you that. Well, congratulations on the win then. Is there one more win coming this season, do you reckon, these last 2 rounds? Is there one more coming in?
We'll have to see. Abu Dhabi last season, it was sort of the start of my pace turnaround. That was sort of my first good result in a long, long time. So there's a chance every track. So as long as I put my mind to it and go the right strategy like today, then yeah, it'll be fine. But hopefully Chase back next week as well, and we can work together to maybe get another pole that we probably should have got today as well.
We'll have to wait and see. Well, congratulations on the win. We'll come now to our fourth place finisher, Matthew, who finished in P4 for Haas. As I said, the same thing twice. Matthew, I will ask you, mate, was there ever a point in that last run where you felt the race win was on?
Well, maybe yeah, but I can't remember what happened now. Obviously, I was in the lead. I took the lead, and I can't actually remember what happened. But I ended up behind Imri on the next lap coming the straight, and I saw Dan by me, and I was just getting flashbacks to Monza. So I just kind of thought I'll let him pass, and hopefully his tires drop off. And after that, once I saw him just leave us, I was just give up, and I was gonna fight Imri for the podium, but I only had 1-1 left, and I didn't want to push it too much. I'm not sure if you caught any of the battle between him and I on the camera, but yeah.
No, to be fair, we caught a fair bit of the fighting between that whole pack in general. So, obviously, I will say to you, I'll commend you just overall in terms of pace this season since you come with us, because you've only been here for about half the season, and you're on courses right now. At this rate, there's every chance you may end up with a place in the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. So, is there any thought you can try and get that done towards the end? It's about 14 points in it, so.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, it's been my aim from the first race I was in here. But it's become progressively harder. Hold on.
Okay. I think we may have lost Matthew for a second. Oh, okay. We'll give him a second.
Sorry, I'm back. I just had someone come in. What was I saying? Sorry.
The aim was to finish top 10.
Yeah, literally from the start I was aiming for top 10, but it got a lot harder because I think, was it PJ maybe or Ethan? I can't remember which one of the Saubers, but they'd got a good few results and then they shot right up as well as AT. So it's become a bit harder, but yeah, I'm definitely still aiming to get the top 10.
Yeah, it's PJ who stopped the order, got the podium a couple of weeks ago in Austin, but. In terms of these last two rounds, is there a race where we'll potentially be looking at the podium? Because that could be enough to get you over the line, truthfully.
If I'm being honest, I don't think so. Qatar, I was actually quite surprised how good my pace was here, and this was probably the best chance. I don't think I'm very good around Abu Dhabi, and I'm all right around Brazil, but I don't think I'll have the pace to have a podium in Brazil.
I mean, it's a long race, truthfully, so you never know. Obviously, full length, and we'll see in terms of getting through the order, what sort of challenge that'll be for you. But obviously, good job today, P4, still a fantastic result regardless. And we'll come now to the driver who you narrowly beat for that spot. 10th Cannon comes home in P5 for Red Bull. 10th, half a second covering you and Matthew at the end. Was the podium on for you as well today?
Yeah, and that's why I'm so disappointed, because I think, if anything, this was probably my last chance this season to get a podium. Really, it was... The car handled really well, except on the straight out of the corners, or out of the final corner. I just had nothing for some reason, but that's been a trend since we started F124. I've never had the pace on the exit of corners for some reason that I've never been able to decipher. But I mean, fifth is fine, I guess, but I don't know. I was really going for a podium today.
Fair enough. I mean, one consolation we can take out of this one is that obviously, thanks to your points, Red Bull actually opened the gap up to Sauber and to Alpine, the constructors there. So I think P5, likely the target for you and Courtney. Is that a spot you guys can hold to the end of the season, do you think?
I think so. I'm decent at the next two tracks. I think good enough to definitely good enough to score a couple points. Obviously, if Courtney can score some points of his own, that'll be a big help. But honestly, just him being there is good. It's nice having him around as a teammate. He's a good guy. But yeah, we'll have to see him the next two races.
I mean, that's the last chance of a podium this season. Is there of one of the tracks, if there's an outside shot for one of you, which one would it be of the two?
Honestly, I think both could be an outside shot. I think Abu Dhabi, my pace is all right. Just depends on whether I can keep pace for the leaders or not. Brazil, I think I can do all right, but I just have a feeling the Ferraris and the V carbs will kind of wear me down eventually because it's a 100% race. It's just kind of disappointing because I'm running out of chances now to actually get a podium in general. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lose hope. I'm still gonna keep trying as hard as I can. But man, this one kind of stings.
Fair enough. I mean, I've been there myself in terms of that sort of situation, so I get what the feeling's like. But hopefully, you have to see you try and bounce back next week and see if we can try and perhaps get yourself on that rostrum in one of these last 2 rounds. But so like I say, you never know in this league, truthfully. And we'll come now last of all. So come now last of all to last certainly not least, Obsessed Gamer comes in P13 for Mercedes. Obsessed, good job on the pace today, mate. Perhaps things didn't go perhaps where we might have wanted over the course of the weekend. Is that a fair thing to say?
I was actually pretty pleased with how things went this weekend. Qualifying was a bit of a surprise for myself, at least. I was definitely expecting to qualify like 18th, not even make it to Q2. So that last lap that really pushed me into Q2 was a giant gift. Like, and then Q2 was obviously just a nightmare, but we walked away with a P14, and then had a decent enough race. Lost a bit of time battling Cottony, and obviously when you get out of DRS in this game, you just stay out of DRS for the rest of the game. So
I mean,
had a lonely race.
Fair enough. I mean, to be fair, Qatar's kind of like as is in terms of DRS in general, so I'm with you on that. But obviously 2 more rounds to go, and obviously Mercedes sort of running out of chance to be able to try and close on McLaren. Is there any chance to get us a few more points for the end of the year?
They really enjoy these next 2 tracks. I think I'm pretty quick around both of them. Brazil I missed last year, but I think I would have done pretty well there. So hopefully we can do good there again for this year. And then Abu Dhabi, it's not a bad track. Just another race.
Fair enough. I will ask, overall, with 2 rounds to go, are we pleased how the season's gone as a whole? But I think both you and Red J Mercedes?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with how I've been able to perform this season. I think that by the end of last season, I was doing really well and should have been on just about this kind of pace. So being able to carry that pace into this season has been a giant help.
It's definitely come through, truthfully. Obviously, the point scores here and there have done fantastically for you. Yeah, so obviously good race for you today, and we'll see if we can try and carry that momentum into the last 2 rounds in Abu Dhabi and Brazil. But that one, more or less do it, guys. Has anyone got a word of the race for us? I'm going to try and do that again, because I don't know.
No!
All right, then. Well, yeah. Okay.
Excellent.
All right, fine. I'll see how it is. Okay, I'll just end the stream then.
No.
You ignored my
Penalty.
excellence.
It's Qatar.
I had someone say penalty. Who was that?
Dust Bowl.
Me.
Oh, okay. Penalty. Reggie, say Dust Bowl.
I said Dust Bowl, yeah, because it's just a big like desert in it. It's just people flinging dust everywhere.
Do you know what?
I don't know what
I think I like that more than
Now
penalty.
is
Truthfully,
sand dust.
I like Dust Bowl more than penalty. Sorry, 10th. You've been beaten. Red J wins.
I lose again.
So
God damn it.
I've got race of the word of the race again.
You say race to the word.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. I did. I was hoping people would just ignore that.
Oh no, I hear everything.
Yeah.
Go on, Red J. Hit us with the rest of the word.
Dust Bowl.
Okay, yeah, right. That's it. Okay, so Dust Bowl is your word of the race. That'll do it. Thank you to Red J for coming up with that one. So if you are still here in the chat, make sure to type the word
No
Dust
problem.
Bowl. And if you are in the comments watching this after the race, be sure to write Dust Bowl in the comments and let us know what you think of 10th losing word of the race. Because I need someone's
God!
because I need someone else to think, because it's always been Pope's commentary. Pope hasn't been here in ages to commentate, so it's like, I'll see if I can get him in these last 2 rounds. But guys, that'll do it for them for the RDL coverage here tonight from Qatar. Next week's race will be on the 19th of of May, and that'll be the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, second to last race of the season. Of course, the last race will be the Brazilian Grand Prix, the reverse grid finale on the 26th. One day before F1 25 drops, getting closer and closer, getting off this goalful game for good. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future audio content. We'll see you have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.